Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, hey everybody, it's Joe back here at Giga Texas. It's Monday, the 23rd of September, 2024. It's a beautiful day to fly, and I have a lot going on today, not only flying at Giga Texas, but I'm also going to be joining Ellie in space over at Hyperloop Plaza, where the Boring Company, the Starlink facility, and also the new X headquarters is located. And then after that, I'm going to be going to Aalo Atomics for their grand opening later today. So a lot going on for me here up at Austin. For the intro, two things that I do want to just briefly discuss. First is at the electrical Switchyard. As you know, they've been doing excavation work, preparation with forms and rebar, concrete, and additional work to get ready for a third transformer. And that's going to be critical to support the Cortex supercomputer cluster down on the south end of Giga Texas. And today what we can tell is that they are pouring more concrete. They've already finished the center section rebar that was on top of the original concrete slab that was put down a few videos ago. And today they are finishing up that central platform where that third transformer will be installed. And then the rest of it forms kind of a catch basin in case there's any problem with the cooling oil in that transformer. The other thing is just to the north there, we do see some drilling operations for what looks to be footings. The last time we saw that here was in preparation to put the steel structure, some of the A-frames, and some of the other equipment that supports that transformer. So we are seeing all of that going on today, which is a really great sign. Now, the other thing that I do want to put in the introduction here, and it has to do with SpaceX and the fourth flight of Starship, and also with Booster 11. Now, the last time we saw Booster 11, it was coming back down through the clouds with that burn for landing, and it was able to touch down into the Gulf of Mexico to a lot of excitement. It was the first time that it had ever been done. Later on, we got this video from the perspective of one of the buoys with the camera on it, showing it coming through the clouds from a distance and what it looked like as it was preparing for its landing. Now, that was the last time that we saw Booster 11 until yesterday, when Elon Musk posted this image of part of the salvage operation that is underway out in the Gulf of Mexico. This has actually been going underway for a few days, and today we get a chance to see what the aft section of Booster 11 looks like. There's only 14 of the Raptors attached to that original 20 Raptor ring, and 6 of them looks like they were forcibly removed. Also, the center 13 engines and the thrust puck, which is what they are attached to allow for the thrust to lift the booster, is completely missing. And some of it looks like it may have been cut away by the diving operations. Some of it looks like it probably was some sort of a RUD, rapid unscheduled disassembly shortly after it touched down. But it is really kind of cool to be able to see the outcome and what has happened with Booster 11. As far as I understand, it's headed back to Starbase for future analysis. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the drone flight here at Giga Texas and see what is going on today on this beautiful Monday.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, good morning here at Giga Texas's west side. We're going to take a look at some of the detail on this part of the site today, starting with what we see on the ground. This is trench work for more electrical conduit, and there is some of that bundled nearby waiting for installation. This runs along the entire length of River Road, and it will most likely provide power for lighting that will help with illuminating this section of the site at night. It can get quite dark here, and I know that's one of the things that they have been wanting to correct, so that is underway. I also noticed another one of these manifolds are under construction. This is part of the underground water management system. There are two pipes that are connecting into this concrete structure. This is very similar to what we have also seen under construction on the north part of the outbound lot and the north part of the end of line facility. So this is all important to make sure that when there's heavy rains or high amount of water, that this entire section of the site remains dry and does not flood. Now, as we turn back towards the west and got a good view of that west warehouse on wheels, I wanted to show you some of the updates on this triangular kind of lot and also material staging. A couple of things. One, more steel items are being delivered and stored on the left-hand side of the screen, and that's underway right now. A lot more dirt is being stored here as well, and we can tell that the transformers on the right-hand side of the screen are still waiting for installation, and that may be related to covered parking with solar panels at some point. I also noticed that there's these set of pipes, one of which has circular cutouts in there. I'm not sure if these are related to the south end extension of the factory and the cooling system, or if it's for something else, so it's worth monitoring. Also, the clearing here continues to have work done to remove dirt and transport it to the south end of the extension, and that's helping to improve the grade, make the terracing, and cover those 3 tunnels on that extension. As we cross over these power lines and come into this material staging yard, a few things have changed, I'll point out. In the middle of the screen is some of these connections and pipes. These are all going to the baghouse filtration plant that is on the east side of casting. Also, these 4 boxes with the kind of the shrink-wrapped white vinyl are relatively new, and it looks like they may be wooden crates with equipment that have been delivered, possibly for the casting machine east side as well. This is one of the areas where the workshops have been responsible for making the pipes for the cooling system in the south end, also where they have had the clean-out pipes and pumps that are helping to clean the newly installed pipes for the cooling plant on the southeast side of the factory, and that's going to support the Cortex supercomputer cluster. In this section, we have 84 more transformers. These are different than the type that we just saw and are most likely destined for a different part of the site. And I'll continue to monitor that to see where they are installed. The outbound lot is reasonably busy, although during the weekend, they've done a lot of transport of new vehicles away from the site. There are many Cybertrucks on the left-hand side of the outbound lot, but in the center part where we've seen Cybertrucks loaded up onto covered trailers, that's not, there aren't any in there right now, so it looks like those have all been transported off the site. Now, as we pull away towards the south over the warehouse on wheels, there is a few developments that I want to show you, particularly for the Boring Company tunnel. Now, if you remember, I've been covering the fact that some of the drivable surface liners that go inside the tunnels have been cracking, and they had to remove a lot of them, and then over at the Bastrop site, they've been manufacturing new ones. These appear to be the new ones that have been moved back here. You can see that they have the word pass written on each one of them. That suggests that they have passed critical testing and that these are more reinforced and able to be installed in the tunnel. Now, hopefully we'll see more arriving here, and we'll see them being moved into the tunnel so that they can begin to get that tunnel ready for operation. Another thing I wanted to show you is here, just south of the tunnel, is the horizontal drilling that is underway. This is for the natural gas pipeline to support the lateral extension of the Sand Hill Energy Plant. These green pipes are being fused welded together on the ends to make them long to pull through the bores. Now this is a pit that is one of the bores for the tunnel, for the pipes that go underneath the tunnel, and that work is almost completed. At the face of the tunnel, we can get a good sense of the conduit, the risers, the firewater loop, and the fire hydrant that has been installed, plus what the base and funnel or entrance of the tunnel looks like as they get ready for all of this piping to be installed, and it'll be underneath that road surface liners that we just saw. So hopefully more progress on the tunnels will be happening soon. As I bring the drone up, we'll fly over towards the end of line facility, take a look at the activity here, plus also look at the rest of the outbound lot and the north end, where we will see that most of the vehicles have been removed and transported off-site. And since it's a Monday morning, production is just gearing up, and then they will start filling up this lot again. So these are great views of this part of the site. This is more of the natural gas pipeline that is being installed in trenches all along this section of the Giga Texas site, and it parallels the road all the way down to the south. And as I re-maneuver the drone to take a look back across the west support facility, the west end of line, and the outbound lot, plus this material staging yard, this is kind of a great view of what this part of the site looks like today. Now, crossing over the highway and resuming the flight on the west side of General Assembly, what we can tell is that there is some activity with Model Ys exiting the factory in the center of the screen. We just saw one going onto the road, another one parked. This is where they exit for the first time and then are driven over to the outbound lot. So that is gearing up for this Monday morning. Another good shot of the flagpoles and the flags and the main entrance on the left-hand side of the screen. As we approach this section of the factory, we can see more of these wooden crates, more items that have been brought in, and then after they are unpacked, they bring the crates back out and they are broken up and prepared for recycling. And this is continuing a trend that we've seen in this part of the factory over the last several weeks as they do some upgrades and prepare the production lines for new products. Cybertrucks are kind of stacking up onto this part of the site where they are exiting the factory for the first time. And also I noticed that in addition to this yellow fence, it looks like there's been some work to clean up the asphalt driveway through this part of the site. And in addition to that, we've seen some crews working on the mounts for the glass, and that's that gray kind of metal items that go along that mezzanine level. As we approach in to the center section of this west side, this is a look into the ground floor with all of the equipment and materials, some of the progress with this large room and the construction elevator that is in operation. And this is a view of that new interior wall, getting the wall panels installed. Right behind that is the boring tunnel, so we can no longer see into this part of the site. As I bring the drone up, it's a look at the water manifolds and water cooling pipes in the left-hand side of the screen, some of the temporary pipes and pumps, and also some of the heat exchangers through this area. A look at that mezzanine level with the bridge cranes and how that appears today. And it looks like there's some plastic covered items in the middle left of the screen. And as I turn the drone towards the south, this is kind of a look at what this part of the site looks like today. And soon they'll start seeing glass installed and we'll lose those views. But at least for now, we get a chance to see what's going on the inside. On this southwest corner, and a good view of this kind of makeshift intersection with those white and red pipes. And also, as I wrap around the building, a nice view of the terraced south end with the 3 tunnels and the 3 levels of this terrace. It's also apparent that they are moving that dirt across the top of the tunnels, at least the 3/4 of them that are closest to the building, and then they're bringing in some fill dirt on top of the geotextile membranes. And of course, those are used to strengthen and support the soil and the structures, in this case, a roadway that is going on the top of this area. Also, we see some scaffolding at the middle tunnel and work with the doorways. And eventually, where we just saw that small vehicle driving, this will be a walkway for the employees. Another good view of some of the white pipes for the stormwater drainage from the roof, and also work here at the top of the tunnel where they're doing some trench work and probably just getting it ready so that they can get those pipes installed and then cover this area with the geotextile membranes and more of the dirt. Also some work with those doors at that entranceway to the tunnel. As I maneuver the drone around the lights and come into the southeast corner, this is a nice view of what is going on in this part of the site. We're going to start looking into the building. The excavation work on the right-hand screen, or bottom of the screen, and that is the ground floor, continues. Also a good view into this interior structure, and this is where the Cortex supercomputers are installed throughout this part of the building. More of the plate-type heat exchangers and manifold systems are being installed with that steel beam structure, and then of course that section of the concrete that has been removed. As I bring the drone up, this is a look into the second floor and more of the work that is going on with finishing out this section. This large paved area is where we saw earthwork on the previous video, and so we now know that they've just decided to pave it with asphalt. And the 4 riser pipes are continuing to be installed from the ground up to those round openings, and we see 2 more remaining, and some of the riser pipes still need to be installed. All of these blue systems and pipes are part of the clean out. This used to be on the north end, now it's been relocated to the south end as they continue to prepare the cooling plant for operation. Now, as I bring the drone up, and we'll cross over the power lines here in a moment. Also, I'll turn back towards the roof. This will give you a look at the work that continues on that gray section where it kind of covers over some of the cooling system and other parts of the Cortex supercomputer cluster. Also, a good overall view of the south end and the main building and how it appears today. As I continue to maneuver the drone now back on the east side of the power lines, I'll come down lower and we'll zoom in and give you a look at the work that is going on the ground floor. The concrete walkways and kind of ground slab is now completed. Looks like more segments of pipe connectors have been delivered on the bottom. There's some gray pipes that are kind of being used now on the bottom of the screen as well. And also that asphalt paved section that has finished off this area where we saw all of that earthwork on my previous video. As I bring the drone back away from this section and turn towards the north, this is a good look at the lined pond, some of the water still in the bottom, and the natural pond that is the remaining pond from what this site was, which was a sand and gravel mine. So it looks like that is again going to be staying here for some time. The intersection for River Road and Robotic Avenue has not made a lot of progress, but we do see, as I change views here, some more of the light poles stored in the dirt rectangular section just on the east of the parking garage. Also, the privacy fence remains on the ground floor on this part of the site. And this material staging yard shows even more of those steel corrugated pipe for the underground water management system and the black pipes, which are part of the cooling system for the south extension. And this is a nice view with great lighting of what this looks like today. As we pass over the east testing calibration lot, or at least for now, the storage lot, this is a kind of a good look at the number of Cybertrucks that are waiting for some additional work prior to moving over to the outbound lot. I also noticed that the work on these medians continues with more earthwork on this section. Now they've had used this area for castings, so perhaps they are reconfiguring this area to be more suitable for storing some of the castings on the outside. There are some on the ground next to the secondary main entrance on the left and in the middle of the screen, but there are a lot less than we have seen in recent past. On the left is that apron section, more work being done by the receiving doors, and that retaining wall on the north end continues to see more progress. As we continue to fly to the north, this is a view of the baghouse filtration plant. Some more of those pipe segments and connecting points have been transported from that far west side, and you can see those on the ground, and also some additional installation of items, including on the top of that structure, that large gray item we saw being brought in on my previous video on a heavy lift trailer. The apron section here for the die maintenance and rail system for transporting them to and from the die shop has had more of the concrete poured on the north end. And as I cross over the power lines, I wanted to give you a closer look at this kind of square item on the top of the roof. And again, that is what we saw being delivered by that heavy lift trailer on my previous video. And this is a nice view as I bring the drone down of the newly poured concrete section and some of the other activity that is going on this part of the casting machine structure. Now, as I turn towards the north part of the factory, on the ground is a look at more trenching and what appears to be some preparation for a concrete vault. And that'll be more of the cables that are part of the electrical system. And we just saw another section that is getting more of the cables installed through the conduit. As I wrap around to the north part of the building, what should be obvious if you've been watching my videos is that almost all the castings are now gone, including what's in the rack mounts. And that is most likely just indicating that the production has used all of them up, and now we're going to have to see if the casting machines are going to be put into work over the next couple of days to start making a lot more, or if that signals maybe a slight change in production. So something I will monitor as time goes on. Now the roof of the 4680s shows more of these galvanized ventilation ducting, some of the mounts and those ducted fan installation. And it still looks like with the mounts on the right-hand side of the screen, there remains more of this assembly ahead. As I bring the drone back down on this corner, a look at the preparation for this new slab and, of course, those cylindrical cutouts for the bollards. And we should see some concrete poured here very soon. So I'm going to reposition the drone up to the north, and we'll take a look at what is going on around the electrical switchyard. Here we see crews are busy with this slab and the catch basin. In my previous video, we saw them installing some of the rebar. Now they are putting the concrete in the middle section. The kind of the basin around the perimeter is used to collect any of the oil that is used for cooling in case there were to be a leak. and the top structure is heavily reinforced to support the weight of the third transformer. And on the upper left-hand side of the screen is another one of the transformers. I expect this to look very similar once it is installed, and that will put 3 of these transformers on this electrical switch yard. Now, in addition to the concrete that's being poured in, on the right-hand side of the screen, we see a drill in action, drilling some holes and some formwork. This is additional footings that will be able to support more of the steel items, similar to what we see in the upper right-hand side of the screen. And this will allow more of the connections from some of the electrical systems and A-frames down into this transformer once all of this work is completed. And also next to those 2 white trailers, there's that kind of small fence on top of that underground vault. And I expect to see a 3rd trailer installed soon. So as I bring the drone up at a higher altitude, a nice overall view of the electrical switchyard, the megapacks, and the changes today. There's a series of deliveries going on, both on the right-hand side of the screen and in the center of the screen, to the cathode plant. I'll bring the drone down lower and let you see what is being delivered. We'll zoom in, and what's apparent is that some robotic assemblers are being delivered, along with some additional equipment that will be most likely supporting the robots and whatever they're going to be using them for here in the battery cathode plant. And this is a nice thing to see, because this indicates additional work is going to be possible within this facility. Of course, on the upper right, there's more of the deliveries that are underway as well. As I bring the drone back up and look back towards the south over the cell test lab, we'll give you a closer in, lower view of the wade pit, the trailers on the right-hand side of the screen, the new fence around the crash test facility and some of the crash-tested vehicles, and some additional work that is going on the right-hand side of the screen next to the wall of the cathode plant. This clearing continues to have dirt applied, and they continue to improve the grade. This is over where electrical conduit has been installed, and it connects into this temporary kitchen. As I fly over to this section of where Tesla Road will be extended and zoom in, I want to just give another view of this equipment that is stored here waiting for its turn to be installed. And it looks like there's some sort of a combine or hopper, possibly a fan type unit, and some enclosures that appear to have some transparent walls. So I'll continue to monitor this and see where this is installed, but its proximity to the cathode building suggests it may be in there. So that brings us to an end, the video of Giga Texas on this Monday. And I hope that you enjoyed what we were able to talk about in the intro, plus see and talk about during the video itself. And as always, I really do appreciate your support and for watching the video. And I hope you have a great week coming up.